Today, we're going to talk about one single day in the world of finance. A day so dramatic, it tells us pretty much everything we need to know about where fintech is headed and, well, how we're all going to be investing our money. I mean, you really just couldn't make this stuff up. This one day, March 31st, 2026, was pure high-stakes drama. It was the perfect snapshot of just how chaotic, competitive, and, frankly, game-changing modern finance has become.
And here they are, our three main characters for the day. In one corner, you've got Robinhood, the big established giant, just absolutely printing cash. Then, in another corner, there's Monzo, this hugely celebrated UK company which was, well, quietly imploding. And then you had Public, kind of the underdog, who just decided to flip the entire board over.
All right, let's start with the 800-pound gorilla in the room, Robinhood. Because on this day, they put on a masterclass, showing everyone just how powerful their sheer size really is. The day for them started with this absolutely jaw-dropping number, $1.5 billion. A figure that really sets the stage for our first story and proves just how much of a behemoth Robinhood has become. So, what was that huge number all about? Get this. It's the deposits in their new banking product, which had only launched 5 months earlier. That is just an insane growth trajectory. It just goes to show how they can tap into their massive existing user base. We're talking over 27 million customers and turn them onto something new. They are very quickly becoming a very real bank.
But just as they were probably popping the champagne, the drama hit. A Reuters report drops, and it claims that E-Trade, not Robinhood, was going to get the lead spot for the massive SpaceX IPO. Now, for a retail investing platform, being cut out of a deal that huge, that's a massive blow. And yeah, the stock immediately took a dive.
And then, just as quickly as the crisis blew up, it was over. All it took were these two little words, posted on X by Elon Musk himself. These reports are false. And just like that, poof, the entire story flips on its head. So the takeaway from Robinhood's wild day is really twofold. First, their big bet on banking, it's paying off big time. And second, they're now so big, so woven into the fabric of the market that they can ride out these huge, dramatic news cycles and still come out on top. Their scale has become their superpower. Okay, let's shift gears completely because our second story is a stark contrast. On the very same day Robinhood was flexing its muscles, the UK fintech darling Monzo was basically admitting defeat in the United States.
And wow, this slide just says it all, doesn't it? Back in the UK, Monzo is an absolute monster success. Millions of customers, profitable, everybody knows them. But in the US, a total failure. Couldn't get a banking license, and now they were shutting the whole thing down.
And this was the message that went out to their US customers. It's a really humble, difficult thing to admit for a company that is so dominant back home. So the big question is, what went wrong? Well, the heart of the problem was that they just could not get a US banking license. That one failure forced them to partner with another bank, which meant they didn't really own the customer relationship. You combine that with a market that is already brutally competitive, and they just couldn't get any traction. It's proof that the regulatory walls around US banking are incredibly high. The lesson from Monzo is crystal clear. You can't just show up in America with a great product and expect to win. The regulatory hurdles, the insane level of competition, it means that if you don't have a real defensible advantage, even a wildly successful international brand can get absolutely crushed. And that brings us to our third and final story, the one that flipped the board. While Robinhood was playing defense and Monzo was in full retreat, the smaller investing platform Public went on the attack with a totally radical new idea. They launched a new feature built on something called agentic AI. Now hold on, this isn't just another chatbot. This is a whole different beast. This is AI that can actually act on its own. It can understand a complex goal you give it, figure out a plan, and then go execute that plan, all without you having to lift a finger. So here's how it works. You just describe what you want in plain English. Something like, hey, if the S&P 500 drops 1% in the first half hour of trading, buy these specific options for me. The AI agent figures out the logic, shows you the plan so you can say yes, and then it just does it. It watches the market and pulls the trigger for you. The analogy for this from the source material is just perfect. Most other brokerages, they're building AI that can answer your questions, kind of like asking Siri for directions, Public just built an AI that can actually drive the car for you. It's a massive, massive leap forward. So what's the big takeaway for Public? They're going up against giants like Robinhood. They know they can't win a fight on size, so they have to win it on innovation. Making a bold, category-redefining move like this is exactly how an upstart can challenge the big dogs and force everyone else to play catch-up. So what do you get when you put these three completely different stories from the exact same day all together? Well, you get a surprisingly clear picture of the future of retail investing. All right, let's just break it all down one last time. Robinhood showed us that having incredible scale is a massive, powerful weapon. Monzo's story taught us that the US market is a fortress, and you need a lot more than just a good product to break in. And Public? They proved that the best way for a smaller player to fight a giant is with radical, game-changing innovation. These are the three forces shaping your financial future: scale, regulation, and technology. Which really leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question. This isn't science fiction anymore. AI is actively managing and trading money for regular investors right now. The game has been fundamentally changed. The only real question is, are you paying attention?